How do we heal illness? When teaching that lesson, I also tell everyone that we must practice diligently. You need to be earnest in your practice. With a single focused intention, you can mobilize this energy. Once you can move the energy, transformation begins. When the energy enters your body and flows freely, your illness will be healed and you will regain your health. I want to help us build this success together. The second feature is that our practice is unique. It is not like ordinary practices. It is rooted in the traditional Qigong and Zhineng Qigong of our lineage, drawing from the wisdom of many of our teachers. These are the insights and essential techniques gained from dedicated practice. And these key techniques, we have refined and distilled them. Through my own practice, I have organized and adapted them to be even more suitable for supporting our health and healing illness. So, fellow students, it's important to understand that our practice is different from ordinary methods. The third feature, this is a distinctive aspect of our Zhineng Qigong practice. The unique feature is the integration of three methods. Yes, the integration of three methods. After I explain the second feature, perhaps some of you may be thinking, I have an illness and find it difficult to move, so practicing might be hard for me. Or some family members bring children who are still too young to practice on their own. So what should we do in these situations? When we come here, how do we address these kinds of conditions? Because there are many people who don't know how to practice, and many children as well. Yet after coming to the center, their illnesses have improved. Why is that? It is precisely because of the unique feature of our practice, the integration of the three transmissions. These three transmissions are used together. They are the transmission of movement, the transmission of words, and the transmission of the heart. The transmission of movement means that the teacher explains the movements in detail, so that our students can follow the requirements of the physical movements to practice. We articulate the requirements of our physical movements. The teacher explains them, teaching from the foundation of form. This allows students to learn from the form and sound together. As for the transmission of movement, the teacher demonstrates the physical actions, clearly explaining the essentials of each movement. This helps students master the movements and perform them well. When you come to practice, you start with the form and sound. You begin your practice from the physical actions. As I mentioned earlier, our Qigong method today is truly unique and contains all the essence. Therefore, if you are able to practice according to the requirements of Zhineng Qigong, follow those movements and practice the techniques. Make sure to perform the movements correctly. Then the qi will flow smoothly and the illness can be healed. Why not practice the simplest method? Just gently stretch the waist again and again, and soon your hands will move freely and naturally. If someone truly wishes to, and their physical condition allows, and they have the time, you can even do an experiment. Everyone just does this movement. Really, truly, you don't even need to stretch too deeply. If you can keep it up for 2 hours, give it a try. See for yourself whether your body changes or not. Just from the heaviness at the very beginning, as your hands support you and you hold the position for a long time, your arms will start to feel numb and heavy. It's as if your arms are growing thicker and you can sense something emerging from within your body. Your whole being seems to move along with it. If you haven't practiced diligently, if you haven't truly devoted yourself to this kind of training, you won't have this experience. But if you really practice and cultivate your whole body's qi, you'll understand. It's not just about holding a position, and it's not only your arms. Eventually, your entire torso, even the qi in your legs, will begin to move along with it. All the energy channels in your body can become open and connected. Yes, they can all become open. I've shared this lesson with teachers before, and with students in the past. Today, I want to clearly explain to our traditional martial arts class the unique qualities of our movement. Let's use this most challenging posture as an example, so everyone can better grasp and understand it. If, in the future, our students truly want to practice Peng Yu Fa and perform this movement with precision, that's excellent. Having a good movement, even within a single action, is just as important. It's also essential to have a clear sense of qi. Many of us carry a lot of stagnant energy. If you relax just a little and let your fingers extend, you'll feel it very clearly, even in your knees. That's the principle behind it. So when we talk about practicing in unison, those of us who can perform the movements, I believe it's essential to persist in practicing on your own, following the requirements of each movement. The correct posture can guide the flow of qi. It allows for a natural and harmonious circulation. It helps to regulate and normalize our qi, bringing it into a balanced state. These movements and postures demonstrate how qi can become balanced and healthy. That's what makes it possible. So as our qi circulates more freely, it allows the harmonious energy from the outside world to enter our bodies, serving our own health and well-being. That's why we have established this center. Why do we emphasize that everyone should practice diligently? This is the reason. After just a short period of rest, through these movements, we can open up these channels throughout the body. Both the internal and external pathways become unblocked. The degree of openness and flow increases. As we mentioned at the opening ceremony, some students may not be sensitive at first, but through dedicated practice you can become more attuned. This is the principle. These movements can bring about changes in qi, and these changes, it's not just any ordinary change, but a transformation that aligns with the requirements of our intelligent abilities. Our national movement, the Grand Altar of the Moon, and the collective efforts of our group all focus on cultivating this qi. This is the energy field that we generate together. Of course, within this vessel, as we discuss the concept of the Hunyuan vessel, there is deeper meaning. It is the consciousness of serving the greater good. In the future, when we talk about applying consciousness, our teachings on Hanyang Dao will not be addressed separately, but will all be integrated into the discussion of consciousness. When you hold the intention of serving the collective, it carries a unique qi. This is the grand energy field. After cultivating skill and inner strength, when we perform the movements and postures, we are able to harmonize the qi within ourselves with the qi of the greater atmosphere. The more people who practice, the greater the positive influence we have on the world around us. As the external energy field grows stronger, it in turn nourishes and uplifts us as well. That is why it is important for you to dedicate yourself wholeheartedly to your practice. Some students, when sharing their exemplary experiences, have said, "I simply devoted myself to diligent practice." They committed themselves to their own cultivation. Illnesses, even the most severe ones, have been healed and transformed. Where does this come from? The principle lies right here. Through practice, our qi becomes unblocked and flows freely. Practice allows our own qi to merge with the qi of the atmosphere. And this is the essence of true cultivation. Why do we need to pay attention to the way we move? When you practice, your teacher will guide you, explaining the key points of each movement. That is why the teacher also explains the purpose and effect of each movement. Why do we explain it this way? It is so that everyone can truly grasp the movements and practice effectively. As long as you perform the movements correctly, even if you are just starting out, they will have their intended effect. The second aspect is verbal transmission. Verbal transmission takes place here within this context. It is necessary to share the theories behind Zhineng Qigong and to explain the principles of Zhineng Qigong practice. So, when we examine this, there are two main aspects to consider. The first aspect is this. We must explain the key points of each movement. It's not just about the teacher demonstrating the movements and saying, do it this way or that way. In the past, teachers, when teaching their disciples, most teachers would simply show you a gesture and say, "See, did you see it? Okay, now go practice." If you didn't do it correctly, the teacher would say, "That's not right. Watch me. This is how it's really done." They would demonstrate again. And if you still didn't get it, they'd show you another way and another until you finally did it right. But the teacher wouldn't explain anything. They'd just tell you to figure it out on your own, to realize it by yourself. Oh, this really made things difficult. You'd be left to ponder and ponder, getting more and more confused, unable to figure it out, spending all day just trying to understand. After pondering like this, your mind would become muddled, and you wouldn't even know what you were thinking about anymore. But there were some clever students. When the teacher demonstrated, they would really pay attention. They'd think, did the teacher notice? Let me watch a bit longer, observe more closely. This is how it was explained in the East German 110 method. There wasn't much explanation, and if I wanted to explain it to you, then this would be as simple as steering a boat. We are engineers. If you're going to steer a boat, you have to demonstrate how it's done. When teaching how to steer a boat, the teacher must perform the movements correctly, demonstrating the standard actions, what requirements there are, how to keep your posture straight and level, how to position your hands, how to move your body, explaining all these principles clearly. The principles explained here are taught through demonstration. In situations like that, you can't just rely on so-called verbal instruction. Verbal instruction must be combined with demonstration and action. You need to explain why each movement is done this way and what effect it achieves. What effect can it achieve? Of course, we can't explain everything all at once, especially here in the rehabilitation department. The time is too short, so we might not be able to go into such detail on these issues. But all of this is included in our textbook. Verbal instruction is where you explain the theory. Now, in our lectures, we use verbal instruction to share these principles with you. We start from etiquette and proper conduct. Once you understand the principles, everything becomes different. In the past, it was called Wu. What is Wu? Wu means to understand the principle clearly. In the past, it wasn't explained like this. Instead, you would reflect on it yourself, practice diligently, and gradually gain insight. Once you figure out what's going on and understand the principle, that's called enlightenment. You've realized the underlying truth. With that understanding, you then return to your practice. This is what the ancients meant by enlightenment before cultivation. Once you grasp the principle, you bring that understanding into your practice. If you want to progress quickly in your practice and develop real skill, you must first understand the principles. Otherwise, how would you practice? That would be called blind cultivation, practicing without understanding. If you practice like that, is it possible? Yes, but it will take a very long time. It will only work after a long, long period. If you only rely on physical practice, training the body repeatedly, your body will eventually become open and connected. Once open, your mind will become clear, your spirit stronger, and your whole being healthy. But with this approach, results come too slowly. It is through practice that you come to understand the principle. This is the result of practicing until your mind becomes agile. Your energy flows freely throughout your body, and you gain a deep embodied understanding. So what about us now? We take the insights and experiences our teachers have gained through their own practice, and we distill them. We share with everyone how you should practice. We help you understand the principles so that these truths become clear in your mind. Once you understand these principles, you can practice according to them. For example, as we say, the person is within the qi. The qi is within the body, drawing in and opening the qi, activating the vital energy, and using intention to guide it. All of these are principles. We teach these principles to our students so that they can, according to these correct principles, we practice. This is what we call putting the right theory into practice, the second step. There is both the physical aspect of the practice and the guiding role of our consciousness. Earlier, we talked about how consciousness can direct the Han Yuan Qi. So how do we direct it? When treating illness, you can directly use your intention to guide your qi to the affected area, dissolving and clearing away the illness. That is the consciousness directing the Han Yuan Qi. And when we are practicing, we follow the correct principles to guide our practice. This in itself is an indirect way of using consciousness to guide the qi. Because now we have the theory, right? With that theory in mind, the qi within the body responds. It will transform our physical form. When you move, the qi, or vital energy within your body, also changes. If you intend to move your arm, then your arm will move. As soon as you move, the qi flows there within. In the future, as our fellow practitioners continue to progress and become more sensitive in their practice, just a simple movement of the hand, when you push outward like this, you can feel something inside. Is it really having an effect? So in other words, yes, it is having an effect. If you hadn't studied the theory, because these sensations are extremely subtle, and at first you might not notice them. But once you have this theoretical understanding, when you push and imagine reaching toward the horizon, you'll notice that when you send the energy out and then draw it back in, the energy returns to your body. With this kind of mindset, this verbal transmission of theory, once you understand it, when the teacher shares this knowledge with everyone, If you experience it in this way, you'll start to feel something inside. You'll sense the energy flowing inward. Why is this the case? Because in your mind, you already have this foundational understanding, and with that, you can truly experience it. It becomes much more profound. So how do we share this theory with everyone? It's about verbal transmission, helping you understand how practicing this method works for us. Why does it work? We need to reflect on these questions. Physical practice, through passive movement, brings about changes in the flow of energy and blood within the body. The verbal theory allows our consciousness to guide these changes in our energy and blood. So, with these two aspects, when both are present, transformations occur within the body. Progress comes quickly. This also shows everyone that for some of us, our physical movement may be limited. Sometimes it's simply not convenient. Or your body just won't move. In that case, you can often follow the teacher's guidance and visualize it in your mind. That works too. But you must approach all of these practices with sincerity. In our last two sessions, one of our classmates, Zhu Maosheng, shared a powerful testimony. He was paralyzed from the chest down and unable to move. He understood the principles and applied them in his mind, didn't he? Exactly. These are the teachings spoken by the teacher. Once he understood the principles, he accepted them, and then he used these principles as a framework for his thoughts. Remarkably, his condition improved very quickly. This is the profound significance of learning these teachings, to help you grasp the theory and to think in alignment with the principles of our Zhineng Qigong. To use your imagination in this way. This approach also brings about results very quickly. This is the second type of interactive content. Its characteristic is verbal transmission. What about the third characteristic? It is called heart-to-heart transmission. What is heart-to-heart transmission? The teacher holds an intention in their heart. As soon as this intention arises in the heart, it immediately has an effect. It acts upon the student. The teacher uses their intention to focus. With just a thought, you begin to change. By using intention, the teacher channels qi to you, and it works on your body, bringing about transformation within you. How does one heal illness? The teacher uses intention to heal you, transmitting this qi to you. If the teacher uses intention to guide you in your practice, you can grasp it by receiving the teacher's intention. This heart-to-heart transmission is exactly the kind of field building we practice here. As for field building, could you briefly observe how the teacher creates and organizes the field? First we sing the Standing Tall Between Heaven and Earth song, the field walking song, and then the teacher begins to send qi to your head. The teachers may be chanting or making sounds. What are they doing? This is the main teacher focusing on sending qi to your head. It's not just words, not just what is spoken aloud. The teacher is truly focusing their intention, sending qi to your head from their heart. In this way, as the teacher builds and activates the field, you are able to receive the qi. You will then be able to experience transformation. This is what we call transmission from the heart. The teacher is not just making noise with their mouth. If a teacher only uses words and their heart isn't truly engaged, then that's just going through the motions of creating a field, without the essence or the true intention needed to build it. As students, we must understand that teachers are not simply shouting. In their hearts, they are truly sending qi to you, hoping to create real impact. It is this that creates real impact when the teacher speaks. It's not just about the words spoken aloud. It's about the intention and consciousness expressed from the heart. This is done so that students can truly receive it. So, is it necessary to speak out loud at that moment? It's actually fine not to speak. Even if nothing is said, as long as the intention is there in the heart. When the teacher holds this thought in their heart, everyone can experience its effect. You might ask, teacher, do we really have an effect? Yes, what kind? For example, if I intend for all students here to have their left hand grow longer, compare your left hand now. At this moment, your left hand has grown longer. Compare your hands, and as I set this intention, I simply think about your left hands growing. Try comparing your hands and see. Students, compare your hands. Give it a try. You want all the students' left hands to experience this. I didn't say that just by comparing, your hand would immediately grow longer. This is how teachers set the field for everyone. As soon as you set an intention and want it to work, it works. What about when teachers guide the practice? When the teacher up front is demonstrating the movements, they're not just doing it for themselves. As they move, they're thinking of all the students together. They envelop all the students in the field with their intention, their energy, and their presence. Friends, please pause for a moment. At first, quietly clear away any negativity. With each push and pull, the teacher is thoughtfully considering this entire group of students, always keeping all of them in mind as they learn together. Among them, there are those with great skill. There are also different ways of pushing and pulling, like this. Just one gentle pull like this. He possesses a very strong sense of qi, and when he shares it with the students, their own sense of qi becomes much stronger as well. When you relax and rotate your palms 10,000 times, the qi rises upward. He doesn't just focus on gathering qi for himself. With these large hands, like an adult, he lifts the qi to his chest, raising it higher and higher. This is called Zhineng Qigong, and this is called Xinchuan. Xinchuan originally included many movements. Some students may not be able to do them all at once, and if they can't, the teacher will demonstrate and guide them. In our rehabilitation department, we generally don't practice the full set of Xing Shen Zhuang. Instead, we focus on the dragon head and crane hand movements from Xing Shen Zhuang. This movement usually passes over the head. For example, when performing the dragon head and crane snake of the 70 forms, we do the crane snake. As you perform it, the spine bends and curves, moving up and down, gently and fluidly, bending and curving with each motion. When doing the dragon head, the spine bends and curves, flowing smoothly here and there. At first, students may not know how to do it, but when the teacher guides the practice from above, with just a gentle lead, as the teacher moves, the students follow. With this guidance, the spine starts to roll and undulate, and most students will naturally begin to move fluidly, feeling the energy flow through their body. This is called the main field. This is the heart-to-heart transmission of the practice, the passing on of the art through the heart. That is why our practice here is so special. It relies on heart-to-heart connection. So for all of us students, of course, when you watch the teacher demonstrate the practice, the teacher who is performing the movements is carrying the energy field with them. And as they continue the movements, so, when the teacher is teaching the practice, don't think they are only passing it on verbally. They are also organizing and holding the energy field. As the teacher speaks, they are also thinking of you. For example, when guiding you to gather and collect, as they say, gather and collect, you might imagine gathering energy to the horizon, but with a single thought from the teacher, they can extend our field all the way to the horizon. And when it's time to return the energy to the body, the teacher simply thinks of returning it within. When they are teaching, they carry this intention and state of mind. This is how they teach. The key points the teacher shares are not just spoken words. You must experience them from within yourself. It is more challenging for teachers who demonstrate the movements and those who guide the practice verbally. This is the key point. You need to embody the practice in this way yourself. Receive the energy from your fellow practitioners here. Whenever the teacher begins the lesson, as long as the group leader is present, and it is a collective activity in the main venue, at this moment you might wonder, isn't the teacher adding energy to me on the field? Whenever the teacher speaks, what happens? When your whole body is centered and upright, as you say, you naturally become upright. You must stand tall between heaven and earth with the crown of your head reaching toward the sky. Just as the teacher demonstrates, be sincere with the top of your head. Imagine your head touching the essence of youth or even the classics and feel as if the teacher is infusing you with energy. Think in this way. Let your feet step firmly on the earth, grounding yourself deeply. As the energy flows downward, imagine yourself following it, moving in harmony with the energy of the field, moving together with it. With the teacher guiding us in this way, and the students responding and engaging like this, both teaching and learning come together. This allows us to fully realize the benefits of the new transmission field in Zhineng Qigong, and truly embody the essence of Zhineng Qigong. What is the uniqueness of the main field in this practice? In the future, when we talk about the second level of Zhineng Qigong, I'll also teach you how to connect with the field. Today, I won't cover that, but we'll focus on the features of this part of Gong and field work, using all three transmissions together. Earlier, the energy we brought in, the rubbish energy, this itself also takes place in the main field. Because when we teach here, we are in the main field, right? We are creating and holding the field as we teach. If we were teaching on a soccer field, for example, the experience would be completely different. When we guide everyone through a segment, the collective energy is gathered together. How do you draw in the energy yourself? In the same way. You can also feel it. Within our holistic Chinese medicine energy field, there is a sensation, but it's not quite the same as being here today, listening to the class and practicing together as I guide everyone. So why is the feeling different? It's because I am here holding the space and amplifying the energy for everyone. That's why the effect becomes so much more apparent. We all understand that within our work and construction, there is a powerful effect when we are in the main field. The effect of the main field helps us understand why some people neither move nor practice on their own. They don't even understand what's being said. Our language is as simple as that of a 2- or 3-year-old child. So why is it that after coming here, their illness improves? It's because the teachers are creating and holding the energy field. In fact, when teachers send out external energy individually, they also rely on the powerful energy field of our Zhineng Qigong. Because if we didn't rely on the energy field and only depended on our own limited abilities, it would be absolutely impossible for us to accomplish the task of treating so many severe cases. In traditional Qigong practices, there are many Qigong masters who have practiced for decades. They don't understand how to create or use a collective energy field and rely solely on their own abilities to send energy to treat illnesses. When faced with patients with serious illnesses, after treating just 2 or 3, their energy is already depleted. But in our center, we are able to treat many patients, adjusting and healing them one by one. What is the reason behind this? When we use external restorative methods in reality, we are also creating a collective energy field. We can only provide this within the main field. Who can truly make good use of this field? That is when results appear. If you, as a student, understand this principle, if you truly grasp it, then you yourself can also participate in creating the energy field. Among classmates within the group, when you send chi to me and I send chi to you, it can also be effective. You can also come together with a few classmates to create the energy field. In this main field, when we place the restorative device here, the universal restorative energy gathers and the power multiplies. Everyone hopes to resonate together. Tonight, if there are 10 people, it becomes a collective field. It's just that simple, truly that simple. So classmates, please don't view this energy field as something mysterious. Now, when we conduct scientific experiments, when we initiate scientific experiments, plants grow faster, like garlic or wheat seedlings. They also thrive within the field. Within a class, several students can read together, or one student can read and lead the group. Both ways are possible. So teachers and staff can serve as group leaders, and after learning, students can also become group leaders themselves. Within your own group, you can also take on the role of leader, so it's possible for everyone to support each other in healing as well. Isn't that what we call emitting energy? Then I ask everyone, is there energy or not? You all say there is, right? Good, there's energy. Among classmates, you can share and transmit this energy. If someone is unwell, you can use your hands to send energy and help dissolve the discomfort again and again until it's gone. Isn't that wonderful? Emitting energy, in the context of this practice, is actually very simple and easy. It's not something only teachers can do. If you have a strong and unwavering mind, if you can truly believe in this with absolute conviction, and you say, if the teacher says it, then I can use it, I can apply it. Zhineng Qigong is not solely dependent on your own physical strength. When it comes to internal and external energy healing, it's about mobilizing the vital energy of nature and the original life force. How do we mobilize it? Through the power of consciousness. By activating it with your intention, you draw this energy into your own body, nurturing your health and well-being. When you share this energy with others, it becomes an act of external energy transmission. When you channel this energy to plants, it becomes a scientific experiment. It's truly that simple. Some people, once I explain it this way, are empowered to try it themselves. If you have the courage to try, you will succeed. But if you lack the courage, then it becomes difficult. You might say, oh, Dr. Pang Ming, practicing Qigong must require special skills or mastery. If you put it like this, how can we possibly do it? Didn't I just explain it? This is their home ground, their own place to practice, and I'm teaching right here in their space. By giving this lesson, I'm empowering everyone present. If you are open to receiving, you will immediately gain the skill and ability right here and now. Can it really happen that quickly? How should we understand this? Didn't we talk about this at the opening ceremony? That was also our very first lesson. Zhineng Qigong is an advanced, cutting-edge, complex, and brand new science. And our usual way of thinking makes it hard to grasp. You might not be able to understand it directly, but we can use analogies to help explain it. This way, everyone can comprehend and internalize it. Let's take magnets as an example. There are natural magnets, natural magnetic stones. So what about those magnets? They're iron molecules. Their arrangement is completely aligned. But in ordinary iron, the arrangement of the iron molecules is not aligned. So when the molecules in iron become aligned, it turns magnetic. In regular iron, the molecules, they're all jumbled and disordered, so it doesn't display magnetism. If you take this ordinary iron and place it near a magnet or bring it into contact with a magnet, the magnetic field influences it, and suddenly a transformation occurs within it. It becomes a magnet. How does this transformation happen? It's because the iron molecules inside that piece of iron, their arrangement becomes aligned and orderly. So in this way, it instantly changes from having no magnetism to possessing magnetism. Our metrology workshop is much like this. In the beginning, our students, the energy within their bodies was scattered and chaotic, disordered and unfocused, with no cultivated skill. Without cultivated skill in this space, we established an energy field. When Dr. Pang Ming gives a lecture, a field forms with Dr. Pang Ming at its center. This energy field, this magnetic field, is very similar. They both have a strong sense of order. When our students come into contact with this field, the energy within their bodies becomes harmonized. It also becomes orderly as a result. This orderly energy field empowers you. But people are different from iron. Iron undergoes a natural transformation, while people have subjective consciousness. When iron enters a magnetic field, it naturally becomes aligned and orderly. For people, however, achieving this alignment is a bit more challenging. Where does this difficulty lie? The challenge lies in the fact that we humans have thoughts and consciousness. Earlier, we talked about Hunyuan Qi. A person's Hunyuan Qi is governed by their consciousness. If a person has no consciousness, a newborn child, a 1 or 2-year-old child who doesn't understand things yet comes into the big Qi field. The group field is normal, normal, normal. That little child, it's very easy to be normal. It's very easy because he has no consciousness. He has no consciousness. But once we develop thoughts, from childhood, after we start school, our thinking gradually develops. As adults, our thoughts become more complex. And so does the influence of our consciousness. The control that consciousness exerts also becomes more complex and intense. We need to know that. There's a saying, when a group field becomes orderly, it's also related to the meaning within ourselves. If the teacher sets up the group field and you sit quietly, empty and open, thinking of nothing, just following the teacher's lead, then your mind becomes well, your brain becomes well. When you move in sync with a teacher like this, your Qi begins to transform. It's just like a magnet. Suddenly everything becomes orderly. Why is it that some people, when in the main field, as soon as the teacher says, all right, the tumor will dissipate, the tumor immediately dissolves? Just now when I arrived, the deputy director from the 2nd department told me that they had an urgent case. 8 days ago, a child came in. It was a craniopharyngioma. Yes, such a large craniopharyngioma, and it disappeared very quickly. Why did the child develop a craniopharyngioma? That kind of tumor is congenital, a tumor present from birth. Why did it persist so firmly, and why did it dissolve so quickly? What is the reason behind this? This child is very receptive to energy. If your intention is pure and steady, everything becomes normal. This is the natural state. In such a main field, we can say that you have cultivated real skill. However, there is something important to pay attention to here. Family members of our patients, you need to pay attention because our teacher creates a powerful energy field at the healing center. When the teacher says, it's healed, it's gone, let it disperse, it's no longer there, the teacher's intention truly takes effect. The family members' intentions also play a role. If the family members let go, if they release and accept, and the teacher says, let it go, it's gone, then it truly disappears. It's done. Some patients recover very quickly. The teacher says it's gone, it's gone, it's gone. But if the family insists it's not gone, how could it be gone? How could such a large tumor just disappear? Well, that's the issue. This creates trouble. The teacher channels energy to make it disappear, but you keep saying it can't be gone, it can't be gone. Even if you do not say it, if you keep thinking, how could it be gone, your thoughts also stop it from disappearing. Now it can't dissolve because your thoughts are resisting the teacher's intention. The teacher has the ability, but I don't. But compared to the teacher, aren't you even closer to that patient? And with this closeness, it's okay. Your connection with them is extremely strong, much stronger than the teacher's connection. Even though at our center, we always say we treat patients like family, but like family, it means they're not truly family, right? So if you're always with the patient but not truly family, then treating patients as if they were family is still missing a certain depth, isn't it? So as a family member, you might wonder, what should I do? You're with them all day, always by their side. The teacher, when they notice something, has the skill to help them get better. Their strength is greater than yours. But for you, even if you keep tending to them day and night, sometimes it just doesn't seem to help, no matter how much effort you put in. How can they recover this way? Here, it's important for family members to understand this principle. Our energy field is at work. The energy field is playing a role. For example, when the group leader reports to us, this is a new transmission. Even if you don't say anything out loud, just thinking about it in your heart is not okay either. Is it a new transmission? If you're sharing doubts in your heart but not speaking them out loud, it still has an effect. If you keep thinking they just can't get better, is it possible or not? What should I do? If your heart is discouraged, or even if you don't consciously think about it, just one thought can have an impact. This is what we call heart-to-heart transmission. That's why we emphasize the importance of family members. There's a reason behind all of this. When you think about it in your heart, you're actually transmitting your intention to them. The closer you are to someone, the more easily you can pass this on to them, and the more they receive from you. That's why those closest to us are most affected. I hope everyone can truly understand this issue. We need to recognize and respect this. Today, the science we're talking about, these scientific principles are not just simple matters. This is all part of a new science, a new frontier of understanding. So regarding this matter of our community, we place special emphasis on it in our journey of building success. We need to cultivate a lasting effect of collective support. If we're always in conflict, there will be constant noise. But if we are joyful, happy, and harmonious, and if we understand how to nurture a new community, then you'll realize that when you feel joy, your family feels joy, and everyone in the community shares in that happiness together. And the teachers are joyful too. This shared feeling resonates and uplifts everyone. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. That's why we often say, just say it and you'll feel better. For example, if I haven't had a chance to greet Dr. Pang, I say, I'm well, Dr. Pang, I'm well. This positive emotion is so uplifting. If we keep this up, always joyful, always well, always well, always well. Positive intentions. Good moods spread among us. I'm well, you're well, everyone is well, all is well, all is well, all is well. But we need to pay attention, everyone. Be mindful. Not just say it with your lips. All is well, but in your heart, truly wish well for others. If you don't say it out loud, but hold that thought in your heart, that's perfectly fine. Now, I don't necessarily agree that the louder you shout, the better. Saying, I'm well, in a booming voice, ha ha ha. That's not really transmitting from the heart, is it? All you're doing is making your voice louder, as if that's more powerful. But that's not necessarily the case. What truly matters is transmitting from the heart. Our teachers rely on heartfelt intention. They think about it deeply and sincerely. The teacher's thoughts are genuine, and you too must think sincerely. Imagine yourself well. Envision yourself healed. Truly believe it. Think, I am well. In this way, you nurture well-being from within. When you are well, everyone around you becomes well too. The whole group finds healing together. Even if things were chaotic just moments ago, now focus your intention and think sincerely. Every word you speak, every matter you address must come from the heart. Yes, when you speak, it must be heartfelt. When your heart is in the right place, everything flows. In the past, some practices emphasized having no mind while training. But in our practice, we don't talk about no mind. Instead, we emphasize focusing your mind and letting your intention manifest its power. This applies to group leaders as well as practitioners. Whether you are leading or practicing, concentrate your mind, focus your intention, and act with purpose. When reciting these affirmations, your words must align with your heart. You must truly feel, I am well, I am healed. Don't just say the words mechanically. You must focus your thoughts on the area of illness, truly envisioning that place is healed, that the illness is gone. Think this way with intention. And repeat this thought over and over again. Family members can also direct this healing intention. You are well, you are fine, you are healed. Hold this thought consistently. Keep affirming healed, 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 and maintain this mindset. Some may ask a teacher, what if I can't help but think negatively? What if I keep thinking things aren't getting better? When you notice negative thoughts, shift your mind back to healing. Healed, healed, healed. Remind yourself in your heart, this is healed, healed, healed. Even if you catch yourself not thinking positively, as soon as you realize it, affirm again, healed, healed, healed. Throughout the day, keep focusing on the thought of healing, always holding on to it. This is how you resolve the issue at its root. What does it mean to think? Oh, I wasn't thinking, but now I'm thinking right away. Don't think like that. Oh, I didn't think about it for half the day. How unfortunate. Half a day wasted. Don't think that way. As soon as you realize you haven't thought about it, you immediately start thinking. The moment you notice you haven't thought it through, you begin to think clearly. When everyone thinks this way, our collective energy field becomes stronger. Think not only for yourself, but for everyone. Once this is achieved, our center, even if it's a bit smaller, like a class or a dormitory, as long as everyone is well, and we keep this intention in our hearts, then whenever we meet, everything will be well. When we say hello from now on, let's change it to all is well. When someone says all is well, we respond, you are well. Hello is not just a greeting. When you say all is well, it means you have already achieved it. You are already well. You are well, I am well, everyone is well. If we keep thinking this way all day, and when we come to the center with this mindset, we can truly make a difference. Our energy field will rise. In this main space, teachers and students alike can contribute to this collective field effect. At our opening ceremony, and in the past as well, we've spoken about being so unified and harmonious. Our actions are in harmony. Why do we do this for the field? When we use the magnet as a metaphor for the field, when we use the magnet as an example, it means that the iron molecules become orderly. Practicing Zhineng Qigong is also about aligning and ordering the flow of energy within us. When you practice on your own, it's like playing a game, but with the teacher and the main field supporting you, the experience is elevated. The teacher uses 8 games throughout the year, and all of us, our comrades, participate with great enthusiasm. When we line up so neatly, that in itself is a form of order. This is also a kind of order, so when we create order in every aspect, it naturally helps us enhance the power of the field. When our forms are orderly and our movements are in harmony, all of this elevates the effectiveness of the field. So regarding these matters, I hope everyone will take them seriously. This is the third major characteristic, one of the unique features of our health practice. We emphasize the integration of movement, breath, and mind. The mind's focus is the main field itself. The fourth characteristic, which is also the final one, I am sharing 4 characteristics today. It is that after practicing our Zhineng Qigong exercises, one's qi is abundant and the qi sensation is strong. It is effective for healing, gives quick results, is highly effective, safe, and reliable. It truly supports and supplements well-being. In summary, once we start practicing Zhineng Qigong, the effects appear quickly. Results show up very fast. Why is it that with our Zhineng Qigong practice, so many illnesses improve rapidly and you see quick results? The reason is that we fully activate the power of intention, the role of the body, and the effect of the energy field. When these three elements come together, transformation happens swiftly. That's why, for some patients with illnesses, they recover almost immediately. Some people get better in a very short period of time. What's the reason? It's exactly the principles we discussed earlier. It's like a reducing agent working through its medical effects. With continuous guidance and activation, it takes effect very quickly. Take tumors, for example. Honestly, sometimes a tumor can dissolve, and with a touch, it's gone. Some say that children's development returns to normal, and others notice changes in their voices. Children who couldn't walk before are now able to stand up and walk. It can take effect very quickly. The effect is rapid. It is resolved in no time. But this rapid effect happens for many people. The illness disappears all at once. However, there are also quite a few students who, because the effect is so fast, their bodies haven't yet fully adjusted to normal right away. The illness is gone, it's healed, but the body itself needs to return to a healthy state. Ideally, the body should gradually adjust. For some, their bodily functions shift, and with a sudden transformation, everything is restored and the illness is gone. For some, the transformation happens instantly and the illness is gone. But for others, the internal shift isn't as fast. They don't experience such an immediate change. Their energy field is still very strong, and when they practice, the flow of energy in the body is powerful. But what about their mind? They keep thinking, oh, I have this illness, I have a serious disease, and these thoughts about being sick linger in their mind. Their intention is very strong. That mindset ends up reinforcing and fixing the illness in place. Yet on the other hand, the Qi is also very powerful. The Qi field created by the teachers is incredibly strong as well. So in this situation, the illness cannot be eliminated all at once. It hasn't transformed back to a healthy state. Even though the teacher's Qi field and the Qi generated during practice are both very strong, what should we do if the illness still remains? The illness needs to leave the body. So what do? We guide it outward, expel it. This is what we call a reaction during practice. Let me share with everyone. When we practice, these reactions are common. Our books and training methods can help, but why do we experience so many reactions during practice? In just 2.5 months, so many good things can happen, but we can't simply sum it up like that. These practice reactions indicate that the Qi within the body, first, the illness is being affected, but it hasn't yet transformed back to a healthy state. We need to help it leave the body quickly to clear it out from within. This is why the body expels through different channels, such as discharging pus, blood, or having diarrhea. There may be cloudy urine, blood in the urine, or for women, heavier menstrual flow or passing blood clots. Coughing, producing phlegm, even coughing up blood can occur. You might experience red or swollen eyes, nosebleeds, or discharge of pus or fluid from the ears, or rashes appearing on the skin. There may also be foul-smelling sweat, night sweats, or high fever, and so on. All of these are considered reactions to practicing Qigong. These are the body's responses as it expels illness. Not everyone will experience these detoxification reactions. Some illnesses have already become fixed within the body. They have settled in place. But in the mind, in our consciousness, some illnesses have not yet become fixed. The second type of illness generally does not produce any reaction. For example, let's say someone develops a cyst or a lipoma, or a fatty tumor, a large tumor about this big growing on the waist. It has been there for a long time, like an old fixture. For the tumor to soften and dissolve, for it to gradually disappear, one day you touch it, and the tumor is gone. It doesn't trigger any noticeable reaction. So what about the reaction of these solid masses? When the energy field rushes through, it starts to take effect. Usually when someone develops a cyst or a lipoma, if it's an electrically charged tumor, the pressure in the mind isn't very high. The consciousness and the illness haven't merged. When they haven't combined, a surge of energy can disperse it. As soon as our consciousness lets go, it dissolves for you. If this illness is very severe, if the patient feels a lot of pressure from the illness, thinking, oh no, this illness is really bad, then the consciousness and the illness become intertwined. The consciousness locks the illness in place. This illness is so serious, it's too severe. And just like that, the consciousness has fixed it. At this point, if you only try to disperse it with energy, it won't be easy to resolve, because the teacher's work relies on consciousness guiding the energy to take effect. Your consciousness is also guiding the energy to take effect, but your consciousness has fixed the illness in place. In this way, the illness becomes difficult to dissolve. It then becomes a matter of whose strength is greater. If the teacher's energy is very strong, take hold of your consciousness. Your consciousness is holding on to it. Oh, it's so strong, so powerful. When the energy of the illness is being drawn out, you mustn't keep holding on to it. Let it go quickly. If you guide it smoothly, it will flow out. Otherwise, it might get pulled into the intestines or even into the uterus, causing blood to be drawn there. That's why there can be heavy bleeding, or the energy might flow into the stomach, causing vomiting. If it goes into your stomach, you may vomit phlegm or blood. That's what this means. The teachers are helping you to seize the illness, and our energy field is working to take that illness away from you. Forcibly pulling the illness out like this is called a healing reaction. The effect is very rapid, whereas if you were practicing on your own, it would take much longer. Maybe a year or two of steady practice. If you practice for a month, you'll see a little improvement. Practice for 2 months, a bit more. Practice for 3 or 5 years, and gradually, little by little, you'll continue to improve step by step. In that case, there are very few reactions. But if you want to resolve it quickly, then you'll experience a reaction. That's the principle behind it. This is how the healing reaction from practice comes about. Previously, we hadn't explained the reasoning behind these practice reactions, because in the past, during lectures, the time was quite limited. What we're sharing now is for students in the rehabilitation class. Why do students who are getting better still experience reactions? The reason is this: our illness, it's been there for so many years, and doctors have said it's hard to cure, extremely serious, almost life-threatening, and impossible to recover from in a lifetime. Your mind keeps reinforcing the idea that it can't be healed, that it will never get better, over and over again. And so it really doesn't get better. This thought is so stubborn that it clings tightly to the illness. It's as if a magical headband has been placed on them. If you insist on clinging to that thought, just like the monk Tang San Zang reciting the incantation, no one can remove that headband. That's why it's so troublesome. You need to expand your mind, to let go and move outward. If you try to pull off that headband, of course it's going to hurt Sun Wukong's head. It's extremely painful, extremely painful. That's the principle at work here. This is how facial reactions work, and this is how detoxification reactions work. It's not as some teachers say about the future. Some say the stronger the detox reaction, the better, the faster, the better, the more, the better. But that's not entirely accurate, because there's also the matter of consciousness. When it comes to consciousness, some people, they are very relaxed in their minds, and as soon as they come into contact, they have deep trust and feel healed right away, with no doubts. In these cases, the reactions are much milder, much smaller, and less frequent. But generally speaking, transforming one's mindset and understanding is not that simple. It doesn't just change with a single word. Matters of thought and understanding are not so straightforward. If people can't shift their mindset, only a very small number can truly transform. So, Teacher Fang, what you mentioned isn't very realistic. For example, why is it that when children are young and get injections, some end up deaf? They get sick and they don't have the awareness to practice Qigong, yet after the injection, they develop a high fever. What's the reason behind this? It's because at that moment, the reaction to the injection becomes intertwined with the information of the illness itself. Then, in order to expel the original illness, it needs to be released quickly. Most family members hold the belief that, oh, this illness will never get better, it can't be resolved, and when doctors say it's incurable, this mindset leaves a deep imprint on your child. Your thoughts and information are passed on to the child. This is the root of such issues. So, generally speaking, when people have a more open and optimistic mindset, the illness doesn't carry as much pressure. Secondly, there are fewer adverse reactions. Even with serious illnesses, they recover well, and there are no negative responses. When we practice our Zhineng Qigong, because our method is quite effective, it helps to expel the illness more quickly. Even before our consciousness has fully transformed, the body is already working to release it. This vital energy is moving outward, clearing away blockages. So when we talk about the reaction of expelling illness, this is actually a unique feature we offer here. In traditional Qigong, healing happens slowly, so you might wonder why our practice doesn't seem to have much of a reaction when expelling illness. Why does traditional healing progress so slowly? Because its effects take longer to manifest, the reactions are milder and less noticeable. As I mentioned earlier, the more burdened your mind is, the harder it is for illness to heal. This is especially true for tumors. Malignant tumors are particularly difficult to heal. Why is that? Because the psychological burden is so heavy. When people hear malignant tumor, they think it can't be cured. Leukemia can't be cured. This means death, and so on. Some people believe that getting a tumor means certain death, but that's not always the case. There are instances where someone develops cancer but isn't told about it. If they're not told it's cancer and they begin treatment, the results can be very positive. But once they're told it's cancer, their spirit collapses and suddenly things take a turn for the worse. These examples show that the effectiveness of our healing is deeply connected to our consciousness. That's why, as students, our approach to this Zhineng Qigong is so important. The key characteristic of being the master of your own healing field is to apply the principles of Zhineng Qigong theory with focus and determination. Once you have this understanding, when you observe your body's reactions during practice, you need to view them from this higher perspective and recognize them correctly. When you experience reactions during practice, that's the time to intensify your efforts and keep your intention firm. Even when your illness feels especially severe, if your consciousness remains steady, if you truly trust in the process, and your heart is free from doubt and fear, then there is no problem. You will recover. You can get through it, but if your mind is filled with worries like, oh no, what if things get worse? Has my illness relapsed? Is my condition becoming more serious? If you have these thoughts, then you might need to take a little medicine. Whether or not to take medicine depends on your own inner doubts. If you have no doubts, you don't need it. If your confidence remains unshaken, there's no need for medicine. But if you feel uncertain or pressured in your heart, then it's okay to take some medicine. This question should be decided based on your own situation. Don't ask the teacher, "Teacher, should I take medicine or not?" The teacher doesn't know your inner state. Because you don't know, you end up with a lot of psychological pressure. When psychological pressure builds up, it can worsen your condition. So the first point is that I hope everyone can approach this dialectically. I will explain more to help everyone understand, and as long as you understand the path, you will have confidence. If your condition is stable and you feel sufficient, then that's enough. If you have doubt, then be flexible in your approach. This is the principle we uphold, and I'd like to give a brief introduction to how we integrate this with the content of our rehabilitation department. I'll introduce these 4 aspects, and I hope everyone can benefit from them. Furthermore, as you practice, try to experience this in combination with your exercises. The head teachers of each class will further elaborate on these issues during the Qi therapy sessions, expanding on them in more detail. In fact, what I am sharing with you today is also a form of Qi therapy. Through speaking, we treat illness, and through supervision and heart-to-heart transmission, we resolve problems. It is important to understand both the theory and also to utilize the transformative power of Qi. Qi therapy is not merely about speaking. It is far more than just simple words. Within it, there is heart-to-heart transmission and the dynamic influence of Qi at work. So, fellow students, this is the perspective from which you should understand these matters. I think that's all for today's lesson. From now on, each of our classes will last 2 hours and then conclude.